Hello all, welcome back to a new session of the weekly Polity and Governance issues from March 4th to March 11th. And there was a lot of things happening during this past week. So we had the International Women's Days being celebrated, a lot of webinars, post-budget webinars as the budget session first part gave over. And so much of the discussion is surrounded about this. So there are issues like the upcoming Bharat Gaurav train and also addressing the inaugural session of you have the post-budget webinar session on economic empowerment of women. There was International Women's Day celebration with Jal Shakti Puraskars, and also there was a lot happening on the economy side, especially even the recent announcement of the Nisar satellite by the ISRO and the meeting of the National Platform for Disaster Risk Reduction. There was webinars on the infrastructure, health, economic empowerment, PM Vishwakarma Yojana, and there was launching of the project of Catch the Rain by President Draupadi Murmu. So let's have a quick review of all whatever transpired in the polity and governance section, which is important from your UPSC mains GS paper 2 point of view. So polity and governance not only means the structure of the legislature, executive, judiciary, but also the policy issues that go on with the government coming up with many policy issues, and what's the stance or the perspective, etc. of the government on various such areas on which the government makes policies. So one of the first important was that Prime Minister Narendra Modi expressed a lot of happiness with regard to Bharat Gaurav train to the Northeast. And let me tell you, just recently only there was the post-budget webinar on tourism to get ideas and insights into how well the programs of the budget can be implemented, especially tourism being a very good potential for not only development, foreign exchange earnings, but also employment as well. So now this Bharat Gaurav train to the Northeast is going to be started on 21st of this month, and Prime Minister Modi expressed a lot of happiness because it's going to increase the tourism potential. So it's the train of the Indian Railways to operate in the Northeast beyond, so it's called as Northeast Discovery beyond Guwahati, and it is a specially designed tourist train to cover the northeastern states by the Bharat Gaurav Deluxe AC tourist train. And the train will start from Delhi, it will go to Guwahati, Shivsagar, Jorhat, Kaziranga in Assam, Unakoti in Agartala, Udaipur in Tripura, Dimapur, Kohima in Nagaland, and Shillong and Cherrapunji in a 15 days tour. Now tourist circuits, tourism is being seen as a potential for not only foreign exchange earnings, but also local employment and also development of local regions. So the government is really pinning its hopes on the tourism sector in the aftermath of the COVID especially, and the government has also designed various circuits to cover the tourism area. So you have the Golden Triangle, you have the desert circuit, you have the Himachal circuit, wildlife circuit, Nilgiri circuit, you have the Buddhist tourist circuit, backwater circuit, Chota Dham circuit, etc. And especially tourism, if you look in the northeastern states, it is blessed with scenic beauty of the Purvanchal. There is a very rich biodiversity, rare wildlife, historical sites of Buddhism, distinct cultural ethnic heritage, warm and welcoming tribal people. The region offers altogether wildlife tourism, tea and golf tourism, river tourism, religious and spiritual tourism, heritage tourism, cultural culinary tourism, adventure tourism, etc. So not forgetting important tourist sites like the Kaziranga, famous for the one-horned rhinoceros, Manas Tiger Reserve, the Majuli Island, the largest riverine island in Brahmaputra, the Kamakhya Devi Temple of Assam, Meghalaya's living bridges made by tree roots, the famous Dola Sadhya Bridge that is going to connect Assam and Arunachal Pradesh, and the mighty Brahmaputra river flowing through the northeast. So incredible water rafting experiences also in the Brahmaputra, and so incredible tourist attractions. And so the government is really happy to announce the Bharat Tour Express, Gaurav Express to the Northeast for tourists. Now in 2021, let me tell you, the travel and tourism sector contributed almost 5.8% of the total GDP, and this amounted to 13 billion Indian rupees, and this was an increase of 44% compared to 2020. Now if you look at the potential, the government, that is the Ministry of Tourism, says that tourism in the country will contribute almost $512 billion to India's GDP and will create almost 53 millions by 2029. So recently, the Ministry of Tourism, under the Government of India, under the Incredible India brand campaign, participated in the IDP Berlin 2023, showcasing India's rich and diverse tourism potential and providing a platform for tourism stakeholders ahead. So government is really promoting tourism all in the outside countries, as well as asking the domestic tourists especially to visit India under the Dekho Apna Desh program as well. The next important is that the International Day of Women was celebrated with a lot of enthusiasm all around, and it clashed with the festival of colors, that is Holi, and Nari Shakti Puraskars were given about women were facilitated. There were awards given, and let me tell you that the theme for this year's International Women's Day is Digit All, that is innovation technology for gender equality, and this theme is especially aligned with the theme for upcoming 67th session of the Commission on the Status of Women. So innovation, technological change, education in the digital age for achieving gender equality and empowering of women and girls. Now India believes in the concept of Ardhanarishwar, which establishes the fact that men are women and always considered as equals, and the government is implementing a number of programs for women empowerment especially, and the government theme, the focus of women is especially in synergy with Sabka Saath and Sabka Vikas, and also it is an important goal of the first budget of the Amritkal under the Saptarishi goals, where you have inclusive development. So Government of India is promoting social economic empowerment of women through various policies and programs, mainstreaming gender concerns, creating awareness about the right, and facilitating institutional and legislative work of the women as well. So the Ministry of Child and Development is implementing various schemes for empowerment of not only women but also adolescents and children, etc. All the schemes under the Women and Child and Development have been categorized into three, that is Mission Poshan Abhiyaan, Mission Vatsalya, Mission Shakti, and the Atmanirbhar Bharat campaign is really working on the ability of women to be stakeholders in the development of the country. Let me tell you that 70% of the Mudra Yojana are women. The country has seen a threefold increase in the number of women self-help groups in the last 6 to 7 years. So this means a lot of self-employment. There is 60,000 of the more than 60,000 startups in the country which have emerged, and 45% of these have women as directors. Also, the policies of the country are becoming more sensitive to the women. India, let me tell you, is one of the few countries in the world that is giving maximum number of maternity leave, and also government is now working on to increase the marriageable age of women to 21 on par with men. Also, let me tell you, to cater to women's health, we have the Ayushman Bharat. We have government giving gas connections, especially to those in the rural areas, so that they should save their time instead of wasting their energy on your wood-based fuels, stoves, etc. Now the houses also under PM Awas Yojana are under the name of the women. Women are getting help for nutrition during pregnancy, lactation period, Jan Dhan accounts. Many of them have been women who have been opening their accounts. So there is a lot of programs and especially initiatives on the government to ensure not only social, educational, economic empowerment, but also ensure that they are the half of the stakeholders in the country's development as well. Moving ahead, again, another goal with regard to inclusive development is affordable healthcare, and the government recently inaugurated the 100th Jan Aushadhi Kendra in Bangalore, and also the 5th Jan Aushadhi Divas was celebrated in the country all over. So Government of India and the Prime Minister praised the Bharatiya Jan Aushadhi Pariyojana and expressed happiness over the achievements. So the government aims to open 10,000 Jan Aushadhi Kendras which sell generic medicines, and those which are almost 50 to 90% cheaper than your other branded medicines. So these Kendras, the government is aiming to open 10,000 of them until 2024, but already we have opened 9,000. So by March 2024, 10,000, but we are already in the, we have not ended March 2023, we already have 9,000 kendras, and that's what Prime Minister Narendra Modi was really happy about. So he said that the cost, he said that the aim of the scheme is to make the cost of the treatment very cheap for the people and to reduce their out-of-pocket expenditure. So affordable healthcare is one of the main goals under Health for All in the Sustainable Development Goals up to 2030, and also a part of the national health policy of the government. Now, the Jan Aushadhi Kendras are the stores, medical stores which sell generic medicines, and they offer medicines which are 50 to 90% cheaper than the market price. So, Bengaluru's 100th Jan Aushadhi Kendra, Namo Free Dialysis Center and 4 mobile health clinics were launched on this occasion. And as I told you, government has a target of opening 10,000 Jan Aushadhi Kendra by 2024. We have already achieved 9,000. So the objective, I told you, is to make quality medicines affordable at a very low price to all the people. Mostly these kendras or stores sell generic medicines, and this was launched by the Department of Pharmaceuticals, Ministry of Chemical Fertilizers in 2008. And the target beginning was 3,000 kendras, which was achieved in 2017 initially, and then later to rose to 6,000, and now we have a target of 10,000 up to 2024. Let me tell you that these kendras sell almost 759 medicines, 280 surgical devices all over the therapeutic groups such as cardiovascular, anti-cancer, anti-diabetic, anti-infective, anti-allergic, gastrointestinal medicines, nutraceuticals, etc. Apart from that, various other products like your protein powder, malt-based supplements, etc. Ayush products are being sold, like the Ayush kit, Bal Raksha kit, Ayush 64 tablets for immunity boosting, etc. have been added to the Yojana. And these kendras, the government offers the help to the backward sections, especially to open the kendras where financial monetary assistance is given to them, like almost 5 lakhs and also 2 lakh rupees is being extended in the northeastern states for the Himalayan territories, island territories, etc. Especially if they are opened by women and entrepreneurs, ex-servicemen, Divyang men. So monetary assistance is provided for the people who come forward to open these kendras, and this is also being touted as a mode for self-employment as well. Let me tell you that there are 4 warehouses that cater to these kendras. They are located in Gurugram, Chennai, Guwahati and Surat. So this is about the Pradhanmantri Bharatiya Jan Aushadhi Pariyojana, which is really making a mark in affordable healthcare especially, and also providing self-employment on the other hand as well. Now, the next important news was, I told you that there was a third session of the National Platform for Disaster Risk Reduction to focus mostly on building local resilience in the face of climate change based disasters. So Prime Minister came up with a 10-point solution for how to tackle or to reduce disasters, and especially with disaster risk reduction. So he called for developing of a dynamic system for disaster management. He said mostly the most important is, first of all, is recognition of the disasters that can take place in the area, and then planning on how to reform, especially with regard to disaster management. He was addressing the gathering of the 3rd session of the National Platform for Disaster Risk Reduction in Delhi, and this year's theme for this National Platform for Disaster Risk Reduction is building local resilience in the face of climate change. And the main theme was building local resilience, that is at the local level, at the local government level. So on this occasion, Subhash Chandra Bose Apada Prabandhan Puraskars were also given, and the winners were the Odisha State Disaster Management Authority and also the Langley Fire Station of Mizoram. Now let me tell you that this platform is a multi-stakeholder platform, but that was constituted by the Government of India in 2013, and to facilitate dialogue, especially to getting ideas in the areas of disaster risk reduction. So let's look at some of the points that the government made, especially the 10-point which the government stressed on disaster risk reduction. Let's touch on few of them. So as I said, number 1, he said that recognition and reform are the 2 keys for disaster management. Second, he said that to strengthen the disaster management governance in the local bodies. Third, he called for continuous process to make people aware about the dangers of earthquakes, cyclones, fires and other natural calamities. And so he said drills and rules should be framed in this regard. Number 4, he said that stakeholders should train the Yuvak mandals or the local youth and the Sakhi mandals in the village and the neighborhood so that they are able to deal when disasters strike a particular area. Number 5, he says technology like IoT, Internet of Things, 5G will play a very big role in reduction of disasters. And drones played a very big role during the COVID pandemic, and also in the earthquake hit provinces as well. Drones were sent from India to Turkey and Syria. And he spoke about Jan Bhagidari, that is participation of women to reduce disasters and to deal with disasters, especially disaster risk management also. And number 7 is that he called for developing models of houses based on local planning that will go a long way based on the area and the geography of that region. So let me tell you that government is making India disaster resilient by 2030, and this was said by under the Vision 2047. So this was also we have our own Disaster Management Act under 2005, and recently the Disaster Management Force or the NDRF of the country went to Turkey and Syria to deal with the earthquake based the operation which was there, which they to save and rescue the people in Turkey and Syria. Early warning systems were stressed on, like SMS, mobile apps, and to provide early warning in disaster hit areas, especially to the general public, and also called for a common alerting protocol. So this was said. Let me tell you that the mitigation fund has seen an increase, especially with regard to catering of resources to deal with disaster risk reduction. So from just rupees 13,000 crore, now the fund has 32,000 crore rupees for the fund, and this is an increase from 2021 to 2026. The NDRF also has been constantly strengthened, modernized and expanded all over the country. Let me tell you that NDRF is one of the top disaster response forces in the world. And we have a dedicated force, that is the Apada Mitra program for community capacity building for disaster risk reduction as well. We also have our own national cyclone risk mitigation project to deal with cyclone risk in the coastal areas. So disaster risk reduction a focus now, especially in the times of increasing climate change and tropical countries being hit more with cyclones with regard to global warming, etc. And the next most important thing is about the post-budget webinar on infrastructure. So during these webinars, we get an idea about the government's perspectives, its aims, goals with regard to the webinars that it's being conducted, especially the government objectives that it wants to achieve with these. So let's look at some of the insights of the government and what are the policy objectives and initiatives that the government has taken with respect to infrastructure. Now, infrastructure, let me tell you, has got a big boost in the budget 2023 and 24 also, and it's one of the major focus points under Saptarishi, which was given in the government budget recently. So infrastructure development is seen as a driving force for the country's economy, and it is also the backbone for various economic, social activities of the government as well. So India has increased its capital expenditure 5 times since 2013 to 14, and is moving towards a target of rupees 110 lakh crore under the National Infrastructure Pipeline as well. Let me tell you that also this is the 3rd consecutive year that the government has steeply increased the spending on infrastructure. The focus of the government is mainly on the PM Jal Shakti Master Plan, and the Finance Minister announced a capital outlay of rupees 2.40 lakh crore for the railways, which is the highest ever since 2013 and 14. So railways are being touted as the most focused point. Apart from that, 100 critical transport infrastructure projects are going to be taken up for last and first mile connectivity with regard to ports, coal, steel, fertilizer, food grain sectors also, with the investment of 75,000 crore rupees and also private sector participation of 15,000 crore rupees as well. Also, the government introduced in the budget a urban infrastructure development fund to improve the urban amenities and the services and facilities in the Tier 2 and the Tier 3 cities as well. So a major boost for infrastructure in the urban areas. Government of India is improving the logistics ecosystem on a large scale, and this pertains to infrastructure initiatives like your Ude Desh Ka Aam Nagrik. Recently, we had seen the Shivamogga airport being developed on a large scale. Bharatmala, you have Bharatmala Pariyojana, Sagarmala program, the Parmatmala, and the National Rain Plan as well. For resource mobilization, you have the National Infrastructure Fund, a dedicated fund for infrastructure funding, especially your National Infrastructure Pipeline, your National Monetization Pipeline, to sell off the non-usable assets whichever the government has, or to give on rent to the private sectors the land or any infrastructure, so that they can mobilize the money for investing in infrastructure development. You have the National Logistics Policy as well, and not forgetting the Prime Minister Gati Shakti Yojana, which is one of the major initiative of the government to ensure synergy between all the infrastructure ministries at the union level. So this is about infrastructure. The next one was the government's insight on the post-budget webinar on health now. So let's look what is the focus of the government, the objectives, and what are the insights or the focus areas which the government is now actually focusing in the time of Amrit Kal with regard to health. Now, health is an important part of inclusive development, which is one of the focus areas of Saptarishi again. And the government's vision before the world is one earth, one health, especially during these challenging times of global warming, ecosystem damage with regard to the climate change. So this involves a holistic healthcare for all the creatures, let me tell you, human, animal, and also plants. Now, medical treatment affordable is the topmost priority of the government, and that's why just now we had seen the the Pradhanmantri Jan Aushadhi Kendras, which are being opened all over the country. So affordable treatment is the most important target for the government. And then you have the Ayushman Bharat and the Jan Aushadhi schemes, which are doing their best to reduce the out-of-pocket expenditure and to provide almost universal health care to all the people. So you have the Pradhan Mantri Ayushman Bharat Health Infrastructure Mission, which is giving rise to new hospitals, but is also creating a completely health ecosystem based on digital platforms as well. The Prime Minister now also underlined the importance of strong health infrastructure in the local areas, and also stressed on the point of primary health centers. So the government is now focusing on primary health centers to offer the maximum of services to the local areas, so that the people do not have to travel far off to the other government hospitals or bigger health centers, and do not have to go to the private centers as well. So the primary health care centers will offer both primary, secondary, and tertiary healthcare services. The other focus of the government is to increase the human resources in the country with regard to doctors, nurses, midwives, etc. And the government has opened almost 260 medical new colleges in the country in the last few years. This will double the medical seats in graduate and postgraduate medical courses compared to what it was 10 years back. Then the government is also focusing on opening 157 nursing colleges in the vicinity of the medical colleges, which is a huge step in the direction of improving and garnering the medical human resource especially. And government is doing this not only to deal with the domestic need, but also the global demand of healthcare, let me tell you. Now, government also is using digital technologies on a large scale technology to make medical services accessible, especially with regard to e-health like e-Sanjeevani. You have your digital health ID, where all your records of the patient are stored on a cloud-based account, where the doctor can access all the health records with regard to the patient if there is a e-health service as well. Prime Minister spoke of pharmaceutical sectors and said that he wanted to make India the pharmacy of the world, keeping in mind that we are offering pharmacy at a very cheap rate compared to the developed countries. Government has also started a PLI scheme with regard to help boost the pharmacy sector in India. So all this, along with this, we have preventive healthcare not to forget. So we have the Swachh Bharat, so not only treatment but also prevention. So preventive healthcare is being focused on a large scale. You have Swachh Bharat mission with regard to cleanliness, Ujjwala scheme with regard to smoke-free houses, Jal Jeevan mission for clean water, Poshan mission for addressing your anemia and your malnutrition, and also the Shri Anna Millets Yojana, that is the International Year of Millets, which are being touted as a superfood especially your Pradhanmantri Matru Vandana Yojana, Mission Indradhanush Yoga is being seen as a preventive healthcare to deal with various kinds of physical and mental diseases as well. Your Fit India movement, Khelo India Games and Ayurveda for protecting people from various diseases as well. So government is definitely focusing on a holistic healthcare solution for the country, and I think this is really important for us, especially with the aspirants preparing for UPSC, to get a whole idea about the objectives, the focus areas of the government with regard to health. So this will definitely help you not only in your paper 2 but also in paper 1 as well, because you have healthcare there, and inclusive development in GS paper 2 UPSC mains. Now the next webinar was on empowerment of women, and how can we forget that March 8th we just celebrated International Day of Women's, so along with that the festival of Holi. So vibrant colors, and also vibrant colors with regard to population of India. So both male and female are important for the growth of the country. Similarly, as we have all the colors which are important for a rainbow to shine as well. So government's aim is a Vikasit Bharat by 2024, and so half of the population, that is women, is also important for a Vikasit Bharat. Government is focusing on a vision for women-led development. So the government is improving the participation of women in fields like medicine, sports, business, politics, and not only the participation of women has grown, but they are also leading from the front in many areas. Government focused on Mudra Yojana for financial inclusion, and now 70% of the women of the beneficiaries are women. Various schemes for collateral free loans under the Savanidhi scheme is being provided. Promotion schemes for animal husbandry, fisheries, village industries, farmer producer organizations as well. The Mahila Samman saving certificate scheme, where women will get an interest of 7.5% is being offered. 80,000 crore rupees are being spent for the Prime Minister's Awas Yojana, and almost 3 crore houses are all in the name of the women. So today 1 out of 5 farm businesses are owned by women. More than 7 crore women have also joined the self-help groups. Vishwakarma scheme for development of artisans especially was brought out during the budget, was spoken about during the budget, and half of the women are artisans here, so it is going to be a big boost for them. Let me tell you, platforms like the government e-marketplace and also e-commerce platforms are promoting women's business on a large scale. The country is moving on the spirit of Sabka Saath, Sabka Vikas, Sabka Prayas, and government is definitely seeing the daughters having a real big role, not only in social economic sphere but also security roles. So the women's participation is being increased even in the security forces of the country. So this is about the government's post-budget webinar on economic empowerment of women. And the second last thing which we will be speaking about today is that about the Pradhanmantri Vishwakarma Kaushal Samman. Now inclusive growth again is a focus of Saptarishi, and so the first budget of Amritkal, that is brought out the Saptarishi inclusive development and investment was spoken about. And when we speak of inclusion, the budget focuses on artisans especially and small businesses, and so the PM Vishwakarma Yojana was spoken about and said it would be launched to aim for helping the artisans and people associated with small businesses in the country. So the Prime Minister announced the PM Vishwakarma Yojana during this budget, and this also attracted everybody's attention. Let me tell you that small artisans play a very important role in producing a various kind of local crafts. So the Pradhanmantri Vishwakarma Yojana will focus on empowering the artisans mostly. Now the Vishwakarma Yojana is aimed to develop the traditional artisans and the craftsmen while preserving their rich traditions as well. So the skilled craftsmen will be supported economically. They will be given loans. They will be shown markets to increase the reach of their products and also teach them to be more self-reliant. So the government is also focusing on taking the Indian crafts at the global level as well. So empowering every section of the artisan in the village is the focus of the government with regard to Vishwakarma Yojana. And also reorienting the skill to pass on the skill to the next generations is also one of the focus of this program. So the government focuses to make today's artisans the entrepreneurs of tomorrow, and so these artisans and the craftsmen are to be strengthened not only from financial loans point of view but also marketing and making them a part of the global value chain as well. So as I told you, it is a step towards enhancing the scope, caliber, reach of these goods of the the artisans, the artisans in the country to not only the national level but also the global level as well. The scheme will also be implemented in the micro, small and medium enterprises, and steps are being taken to include the artisans and the craftsmen in the MSME sector as well. Many programs are being implemented for the artisans, like the Ambedkar Hastashilp Vikas Yojana, your mega cluster scheme for upscaling the production and infrastructural chains, and marketing and supporting schemes to ensure that their market widens not only domestic but also globally. And the last policy initiative of the government this year, which was really in focus, was the President Draupadi Murmu launched the Jal Shakti Abhiyaan Catch the Rain campaign 2022 in Delhi, and the theme was Source Sustainability for drinking water. So water conservation and management especially are most important issues now with regard to increasing urbanization, and also as many of the rivers are being polluted. So India just has only 4% of the global resources of water, freshwater resources in the country, and so it's all the more important to harvest rainwater and also protect and manage water usage very wisely. As the traditional water conservation methods have disappeared, so now the government is now focusing on water harvesting, especially to restore the traditional methods of these water harvesting and conservation technologies through the Jal Shakti Abhiyaan. During this, during the launching of the Catch the Rain campaign for 2023, President conferred the Swachh Sujal Jal Shakti Samman Awards, which were under various categories of Swachh Bharat Mission, Gramin Jal, Jal Jeevan National Water Mission. The awards were given to acknowledge the leadership of those women at the grassroots level who participated in water conservation and water harvesting as well. The Jal Shakti Se Nari Se Shakti commemorative stamp was also launched by the government. So let me tell you, this program is a really very interesting one. It is a component, Catch the Rain is a component of the National Water Mission, and it comes with a tagline that catch the rain where it falls when it falls. So it calls on the people to create rainwater harvesting structures in their homes, and under this campaign, check dams, water harvesting pits, rooftop rainwater harvesting structures for rainwater harvesting are being developed and also promoted. So to facilitate all of these, the states have been requested to open rain centers in each district, and it's very interesting that each of these rain centers will have a dedicated mobile number and will be manned by an engineer who will be very well trained in rainwater harvesting system. So you have a total system, like your mobile number, your dedicated app, you have a dedicated engineer for each area which is planned for rainwater harvesting especially. And this center will provide technical guidelines to all the other districts in the state. With regard to rainwater harvesting. So under this, buildings are being asked to set up rooftop rainwater harvesting structures and to catch the rainwater, and rather than making it going waste in the compound, the basic aim is that no water should be flown out for waste, and this will not only help in improving the soil moisture but also will increase in rejuvenating the groundwater table as well, especially with regard to urban areas. So under the Catch the Rain initiative, all the water bodies in the district are to be enumerated, they have to be counted, they have to be checked, they have to be maintained records for, and also encroachments are to be they are to be avoided. So a total system to ensure that rainwater is harvested well in the country, especially keeping in mind the growing urbanization and also the variability with regard to rainfall and the structure of the country, which does not ensure that there is equal water accessible to all in all parts of the country. So rainwater harvesting is a really, really good program of the Government of India to especially manage water needs during the time of increasing demand as well. So I hope all these topics were really helpful to you all with regard to your policy and governance initiatives for the week that's March 4th to March 11th. And I shall see you in my next post for international affairs and the next one for economic affairs with regard to this week. And until then, happy learning.